Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, let us go! We are in the lower bracket round 11, our final lower bracket round 11 game. Winner of this will move on to the lower bracket round 12. Loser will be heading down and being eliminated. With us only having, maths is hard, 17 days? Hang on, 7 days plus 8, 15 days from the time of me recording this, which is the 20th if my maths is correct, until Season 1 begins. Let's introduce our teams. On the left, on defense of Symbiotic Surface, it is Tezeta, hailing from the upper bracket, where they were eliminated in the quarterfinals, taken out by In and Out in a 3-0 to be sent down to the lower bracket. And they are versus Frenzy Flame, who got here through the lower bracket by taking out U6 in a 3-1. This is to decide who will move on to play against VBQ, who we saw yesterday take down Kage Summit. We're seeing Bruce Banner, Hawkeye, Hella, and Luna Snow taken out, with Penny and Doctor Strange going to be protected. So we are getting ready to head on in. Jimmy's considering bringing out an Iron Man here. They were a pretty good Hella player, but it's been removed. Mangoon Memes was thinking about the Penny, but it looks like they're going to give that over to Yunzui, who I believe is a new player. I've not seen them before. Tezeta, they're going with the Guardians team up, and with Groot, they have basically every Guardian of the Galaxy in the game, except for Rocket, which triple support, pretty popular, at least in the first half of Season 1. In terms of competitive play, not in terms of competition play. Weird distinction to make, but it's one we have to make. Let's introduce our teams. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks on defense, it is Tezeta with Mr. Micro on Wolverine, JBDTX playing Doctor Strange. I assume this one is pronounced Dempsey, going to be playing on that Groot. Tinkt will be on the Star-Lord. Fruit is on Mantis, and Crying XD not on their Black Panther this time. They are on the Adam Warlock. Reminder, this is console in the North America region. And on the right-hand side, on attack, it is Frenzy Flame with Mangoon Memes. We'll be swapping back over to that Penny Parker. Gliz is playing the Cloak and Dagger. Yunzui playing the Magneto. Woodback Berry returning to their Loki. Jimmy's is bringing out the Star-Lord. And we have Zaken on that Winter Soldier, trying to deal with the diving Wolverine here by trying to counter the crowd control and lock him down. But Yunzui has already been taken out here. We're looking at Mr. Micro, seeing if they can find an angle round, but these webs set up by Mangoon Memes make it a little bit harder for them to step and get onto the point here. Defensive position, essentially, has been set up here, but down goes the Bionic Spider Nest. Mangoon Memes suddenly a little bit more vulnerable, and this opens up the possibility for Mr. Micro to try again in isolation there. Feral Leap does not find Chimis, as Chimis going to try and use that flight to get out of range, but only has a limited flight range. Mr. Micro up to the high ground, getting chased down. Chimis giving chase, trying to get a finishing blow, but Feral Leap will get Wolverine out of there. JBD trying to hold the front line, but now being pressured from the other side. Here comes the Kraken Impact, getting Dempsey. As Zack trying to step up onto the point to take position for Frenzy Flame. Diving in, finds Reset 1, and gets a second pickup here with the elimination. Chasing into the choke point onto Adam Warlock, taking them down again. And that's going to be Frenzy Flame taking the first position here. Kraken Impact blocked by the Groot wall and the terrain. This will prevent any more resets. Bionic Hook blocked by the wall, actually. It landed, but I think the wall prevented the pull. Very interesting. Tainted Shock not able to land the finishing blow onto Crying. Crying does have that Karmic Revival right now. Only one member down, going to use the Soul Bond as the enemy team begins to push up. It's going to allow Mr. Micro to get a little bit more sustained going as they're going to look for their opportunity to dive in. Here comes the Galactic Legend from Tiggs, but Tiggs has already taken down. Chimis looking to match in exchange, getting a little bit of healing from the Loki by dipping down, something you don't see Star-Lords do too often. Once they're ulting, you can fly, but you don't have to. If you need healing, you drop down. Eternal Bond for Gliz to try and keep the team topped up as they push on in, trying to get onto JBD. Frenzy Flame still in control for the moment, straggling Prison, trying to split the team in two while the team drops the follow-up damage. Tezeta trying to zone him back, but finding no pickups, no eliminations here. Aya Agamotto. Final judgment. Aya Agamotto cancelled there, locked down with the crowd control, and we see JBD fall. Magu Memes going to take this opportunity to try and capitalize, pushing up with that nest. The walls from Groot are shutting them down, but they're creating a big retreat, making a lot of space for Zach to get 2 resets, looking for a third, which they find. Waiting for that to drop down so they can see if they can get one more. Blocked by the shield. Kraken impact. Blocked by the shield. No reset, but they've got more than enough space now to try and guide in this cart. Push up. Coming out by Zach. Yunzui. Doesn't look like they landed any, but they do go down. But have they bought enough time for that cart to make it in? 2 meters left. Good lockdown, taking out the Adam, but Chimis is in a little bit of trouble right now. Woodback Baby was able to get 2 with the God of Thunder, and they take the point, snipe out the Adam Warlock, and of course, the Star-Lord. Frenzy Flame keeping this push going. Nice pickup though, from the Thor, bringing it in. Dempsey with the swap off from the group, which was getting some good work, but realizing they need a little bit of damage. Bringing it out. Dempsey. Tossing Mjolnir, something we don't see too often. A lot of players seem to stick just with the Awakened Rune, nearly getting popped by the Mind as Frenzy Flame continue their push. One Thor Force is used. Takes into the sky, getting kind of blocked out by mushrooms here, and the shield, so not going to be able to find anyone to eliminate here with this ultimate. Here comes the counter from Chimis to see if they can do better. Yes, they can, taking out Dempsey. Magu Memes does fall to Mr. Micro, but the chase is on. Ult expires, only finding 1 elimination, making it a 1-for-1 in this fight. Good defense by Tezeta, holding their way through the ult here, as Ting to Mr. Micro get a double elimination here. Mr. Micro, when it's needed in the 3rd hold, is putting on an absolute clinic on this Namor. Aya Agamotto comes out, trying to lock him down as they push on through, trying to capitalize. Regeneration Domain is going to be taken out as they look onto Woodback Baby and onto Zakin, looking to take out that damage impact to remove the resets, and they do. The cart is stopped, and Frenzy Flame will be pushed back. Tezeta are holding, at least for now. Lots of harass, Cyberweb Snare. Send from downtown, see if they can find one. Oceanic Minions. Trying to place them up onto the high ground. This is poor the Namor throw rework. Little bits of damage. Has that Horde of Proteus. Looking to drop it into the back line. Locks down Woodback Baby and Zakin, taking both out as Dempsey able to get the finishing blow onto them. And Frenzy Flame are driven back again. They had so much momentum at the start here, but suddenly we are seeing Tezeta bringing it back. Dempsey and Mr. Micro, they go for those hero swaps, and they are now picking up basically every elimination, getting huge value for their teams. Oceanic Dominion, no Frozen Spawn, by the way, remember, they do not have Lunar Snow. That was banned out. Zach has that Kraken impact. Holding on to it, pushing up slowly with the rest of the team. Waiting for the opportunity to strike. With the cart so close that they've reached their goal, that's when the God of Thunder will strike! Dempsey comes in, gets the elimination. Chimis about to be able to ult up. Will they drop it immediately to try and capitalize? Up to the sky they go, not healed up. They decide against it. Mr. Micro still here, dropping as much damage as they can. The Galactic Legends, Mash, already taken out though. Chimis retreating down once again to their team for the healing. Guess JBD chases down Fruit with Mangoon Memes getting the finishing blow as they turn onto Dempsey with 1 minute to go. They're doing everything they can to try and capitalize, to try and keep this push going. But members of Tezeta keep popping out of the woodwork as we are less than 19 meters away. Horde of Proteus smashes in. Aya Agamotto from Yunzui, counter by JBD, but they are locked down. The cart makes it the rest of the way in, and Frenzy Flame will take the 3. Frenzy Flame now on the defense. Tezeta, they found their footing a little bit late there, but they really showed that they do have what it takes. Mixing it up a little bit here. Going less defensive, they are now bringing in, instead of the Star-Lord, the Winter Soldier of their own, looking to try and break that defense, pull people out of the Loki heals. Zack looking to move on potentially to the Doctor Strange here. Triple Vanguard? Is that what we're going to see from Frenzy Flame? There we go. All right, they swap it. Yunzui moving on to the Moon Knight here to mix this up. Looking at the defense. Mangoon Beam sticking with the penny. Great for defense here. That Moon Knight could get some insane value. They've got this to pull people out of the... They've got the Winter Soldier to pull people out of their defensive positions. And Zaken, Winter Soldier from last round, this time is dropping the Doctor Strange. Currently, just hanging out. Is Zaken waiting to portal, or are they just AFK? I think they're just AFK. Mr. Micro, off to the side. Zaken, no counter portal. Mr. Micro takes them down into the spawn area. Ooh, a little closer to the wall there. Nearly traps Magneto. Great bionic hook to pull them in. Mr. Micro locked down and picked off. That was gorgeous by Chivis. Chasing them down. Ticked. Trying to escape as they shoot through the portal. Not able to find the finishing blow. But now everyone who's back here is isolated. The portal is already gone. They're going to get chased down. Down they go. Crying will fall as well. And Tezeta shut down on their first push here as Frenzy Flame look to hold this defensive position. Taking some blind shots down range. Seeing if they can get a little bit of harass. Maybe get lucky. Tainted Shock will land on 2. Nice little bit of harass here. Ticked. Matching it in, well, I was about to say matching in the same way that we've been seeing from Chimis, but that's a double mine coming in from Mangoon, shutting down the push and forcing the retreat. Arc comes out, but it is picked off quickly. Ticked, pulling all the way back here. Dempsey bringing out the Punisher, giving them currently 3 DPS, and Ticked will be moving over to the Groot. Very flexible. Dempsey was the one playing the Groot last time. So they're going to mix it up here. Let's see how this works. Bringing out that Punisher. Heading around the outside. Chimis sees the flanking Star-Lord, will chase them back. Portal up to the high ground on the wraparound, so they get a little bit of an advantageous angle to just ping shots away at the enemy here. Very clever. Here comes the Eternal Bond from Cry. Glear is going to be matching as Mangoon Memes will fall, but so does Mr. Micro. Front lines beginning to fall for both teams here. Yunzui holding on to that Fist of Khonshu to potentially go for the Wombo, getting focused down, gets a map heal, focused down, drops low, Ticked with the straggling prison, but where's the follow-up? JBD in the sky, takes out Woodback Bibby. Trying to get onto the Strange, will take him down. Dempsey takes out Zaken, and we're going to see Tezeta absolutely rout Frenzy Flame. First point going to be going over to Tezeta as they look to try and match Frenzy Flame. Damage output onto Mangoon. As Mangoon is trying to hold this front line. Just maximizing damage output. Mines are getting set up. Just trying to make this area as rough to step up to as possible. But in spite of this, spreading this, here comes the final judgment and the hand of Khonshu. But Dempsey is able to step back off of it. They take out Zaken, but they are finished off by Chimis. Nice bionic hook, but just short of pulling them off the edge of the box. So close to being a quick isolation onto Ticked as they focus them down. Frenzy Flame in control at the moment, putting a stop to the push, but Tezeta are still starting to get some momentum going against Mr. Micro. Shield breaks, but they're still here. They've got the healing. Onto Yuzui, trying to chase him down. Yuzui! Drop down, picked off. Aya Nagamoto into the backline, blocks by the Bionic Hook once again. Chibi's on point with that. Mr. Micro forced to back away. Pushing in, Spider Sweeper and Eternal Bond coming in from Frenzy Flame to try and drive them back off the point to set themselves up for the defense. The mines are set up. The Bionic Spider Nest is still down to keep this damage output spread across the area. Sets down a nest. Webs to get the traps down. Kraken Impact came out. Chibi's got a double but was taken out here by Dempsey. Dempsey also falls. Ticked. Now trying to hold the line as Mr. Micro is dropped a little bit low, forced to back up, but they wait for their shield to recharge. Spore Bomb to the high ground. Walls off cooldown, but they're waiting for someone to step out of position. If they can wait for the team to arrive and then trap someone while they're out of position, they have the opportunity to try and step forward. They've got just over a minute and a half remaining. Keep an eye on Zack from behind. Aya Nagamoto crying, taken out, straggling Prison to lock down Zacken, but it might just be worth it. JBD taking out one with the Galactic Legend, makes it a 3 for 3. But Frenzy Flame, draws are in their favor because the card is still stopped. Getting some good damage, but Dempsey with the shotgun gets the elimination there. Aggressive positioning is taken by Tezeta once again. They're going to keep pushing. Finds Yuzui up on the high ground, who has that hand of Khonshu, holding on to it for the moment as they're getting chased down, utilizing the team up to try and avoid the damage, but Dempsey finds yet another pickup. Aya Nagamoto from Mr. Micro, but it is blocked completely. Dempsey with the final judgment, trying to burn through, but it's being blocked by the regeneration domain, so they're getting no eliminations. Finally finding Zacken as they stepped out of that regeneration domain. Mango Memes dropped, chased down, and Dempsey is on point, uncontested, and finds everyone. Well, there's the Khonshu, but it's all too late. The card is already moving. And now the finish line is going to be that triple. We see Tezeta trying to find their way in for overtime. Ticked on the point. Let's see what they can do. Yuzui swapping now onto the Doctor Strange. Zacken back on the Winter Soldier, and Chibi's moving over to the Namor. Making their way forward. Trying to push onto the point, taking so much damage, but they're holding at least for the moment. Galactic Legend for JBD, but Regeneration Domain shuts it down, but they find Gliz just on the flank as they were moving back to the defensive position. Lot of damage, not enough to get the finishing blow. Spider Sweeper coming in, Wood back, bringing in the straggling Prison on the clone, but it's not enough to lock them down. They get the wall down, but they're sniped from behind as Tezeta are cruising through right now. Running them down behind into their spawn point with the quick swap. Absolute dominance right now. Shuts down the Kraken Impact, and we are just seeing elimination after elimination here as Dempsey with the final judgment for the final push to snipe through everyone that's left. Star-Lord trying to play evasive. Glitz gonna go down. Magu Memes picked off on the retreat. Smoke Bomb to finish off the damage onto Glitz, and Dempsey, it's slow, it's steady, but they're gonna get it. And Tezeta gets the triple. We are heading to overtime in this map number 1. Nicely done.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this.
Dempsey, an incredible Punisher player here. So accurate with that adjudication. And the deliverance for the defense has been perfect. I think if we have a look at some statistics right now, yeah, we're going to see 18 final hits, 32 eliminations, 23k damage. The highest in the game right now. Top damage blocked. we are going to be seeing 29k Mangoon memes currently absorbing. But JBD, 28k. They're really spreading theirs out due to the fact that everyone is swapping roles so consistently except for the strategists. And as such, we see the strategists with the highest healing output, 30k here for Crying XD. Let's see if they can close this out as Frenzy Flame
I don't have to read your mind to know.
once again setting up the defense here, setting up some lovely mines. Mangoon memes just trying to make it toxic for them to leave their spawn. Let's see if they land it. A couple mines have been dropped. Made invisible by the web. Do they fall for it?
Only 60 seconds.
Slow, steady, careful wrap around the side. Portal coming in. Will we see a portal grief? Off to the side. No portal grief coming in here as Mangoon Meme settles up the defensive position. Trying to force them back. They have regeneration domain down on the low ground. JBD is harassing from the side though, but surprise! Here comes Zaken with the magic out of nowhere to try and chase them down. Can't deal with that mobility though and will be sent back to their team. Dempsey drops low. Back onto the adjudication to try and force their way through. They have a culling turret. Could try and set themselves up in this choke point here. For now, just dealing with the fact that they're mostly uncontested on this flank. We're down to the final 10 seconds. There's Magic Zaken coming in on the flank. Dropped low, but doing some great damage onto the backline. And we are starting to see the members of Tezeta getting whittled down. Mr. Micro finished off. The sleep came out, but it's a little too late as Fruit is falling. Six is taken down there, and with basically no one left. JBD, the Eternal Bond, comes out from Crying to try and buy time. Mr. Micro swinging in. They're trying to touch the point with the fastest mobility characters they can, but they just can't reach. Frenzy Flame hold on 0%.
Time to switch things up.
1 minute and 39 now for Frenzy Flame to get a third of a capture point.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Whew, boy, it is getting warm in this stream room. Spring is on the way. Tezeta for their defense. Mr. Micro going to be moving on to the Lemon. JBD back onto Strange. Dempsey sticking with the Punisher. Worked out quite well for them. Fruit sticking with Mantis. Crying on the Cloak and Dagger. The Frenzy Flame. They're sticking with what they know works, but they are once again bringing in that magic for the offense. Gonna try and dive the backline and break it with that. Mr. Micro, a pretty solid hero choice to try and help deal with that. We are pre the release of Invisible Woman as a reminder, so there is none of that healer backline dive defense. They have to just rely on what was already out as this is season 0. Dempsey sets up the culling turret with JBD. Ready to protect them. Woodback, baby. I doubt they'll go all the way through. There we go. Back to Loki. Yuzui. Portal. A little bit further forward, just in case a portal grief comes down, but JBD is not doing so. Up to the high ground. Mr. Micro is seen there. Dempsey in turret form. Chibi's was thinking about it. JBD trying to hold the front line. As the assault creeps on in, Chibi's retreating to the low ground. They don't want to get picked off here as Tezeta on the defense, but now they have to deal with that turret of Dempsey. Magic, though, doing a great job. Mangoon Memes is able to find the elimination, though, on the backline and is setting up mines on the objective, making it very difficult for Tezeta to move around as freely as they would like to with Dempsey down. Numbers advantage for Tezeta Flame. They only need 1/3. Frenzy Flame, sorry. Trying to push on through. Tezeta zoned out. Group walls making it a little bit more difficult for Mangoon Memes to find a positioning that they would like to here. Wrap around Gliz on the side. Woodback was taken down, and as is Mangoon Memes. Yunzui taken out as well. Mr. Micro is starting to clean up here. Mangoon Memes gets one more elimination with the mimes onto Dempsey as we have 30 seconds remaining. Loki clones are taken out. Dempsey Take it out once more, swaps to the Psylocke so they can rotate back in faster. Here comes the move to try and close this out. JBD holding the line. If they can hold this for Tezeta, then they set this to a draw. Frenzy Flame, they just need to take this one last fight. They touch the point for the overtime. Now it's all about who can clean each other off. We're seeing all the healing ultimates used at once for the side of Tezeta. That's a bit of a miss combo there. Horde of Proteus into the backline as JBD is going to take out Zaken on the defense. Here comes the final judgment for Teamies, trying to melt through the defending members, and they are doing so. Ticked, dropping low. The bodies are hitting the floor. Mr. Micro, all that's left, and gets cleaned up here. Down goes Dempsey, trying to dive on the point, as we will see the point and the map going over to Frenzy Flame.
Another epic victory.
Super intense game number 1 there. Magoon Memes going to be taking that MVP. 16 final hits, 45 eliminations, getting taken out 10 times. Who got taken out the least this game? It is a tie between Tinked and Teamies. Teamies only getting taken out 8 times, 46 eliminations, 25k damage, the highest in the game, and 19 final hits. 25k damage, by the way, only beating out Dempsey by about 200. Was super close. Look at that spread out the damages from these teams. Everyone with role swaps, with character swaps, with just doing the work, doing damage. Such a close game number 1 between these teams. Frenzy Flame taking the lead. Damage blocked. 39k. Just going to take it as a 37, as a 35, as a 32, as a 31. But 39 for Yunzui will take the first point in terms of damage blocked MVPs. Did get eliminated the most on their team, though. That is where you start to see a little bit of a risk. Dempsey, super getting focused down for their team. Getting taken out 16 times there. Top healing. 39k. Crying XD. Again, I've been used to them playing the Black Panther. Seeing them on these healers topping out numbers. 11 times eliminated. That is the 3rd most on their team. 2nd least. Putting on a pretty good show here. Sorry, 3rd least. They're right in the middle. Just good job with that healing here. Getting 3 final hits as well. Gliz just sniping him here. Getting 4. But losing in the healing battle. That was an incredible game number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, as Frenzy Flame will take the lead in this best of 5. Remember, if you are enjoying, then leave a subscription. We are currently on 9% subscribers at the time of me recording this. People who are watching are subscribers, 9% of them. You can help me get to my goal of 5,000 subscribers. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've been hovering about 3k for about 10 of those. So if you want to show some support, it would be super appreciated if you help me get to that 5,000 sub counts. And leave a suggestion in the comment of what you'd like to see me do at 5,000 subscribers. Obviously, it's got to be Rivals related. I'm not going to do anything like shave my eyebrows or shave my hair. If you know me since I've been around in other esports before, you'll know that I've done shaving my eyebrows, but that was for charity. And if I ever do it again, it will be for charity. They're worth at least $1,000 each if we're talking about the last charity. So I want to beat that next time. We can make some good money for charity, I will be happy. You can also support me by leaving a like and commenting on the video to help with the algorithm. Talk about who your favourite characters are, who your favourite players are, and who you're looking forward to seeing in Season 1 as we prepare for Eternal Night Falls. You can also, if you're planning on playing in Eternal Night Falls, let me know your team name and what region you'll be playing on, and then I will attempt to cast as many of the teams that let themselves known to me as possible. I'll be doing a proper announcement thread about that to say, hey, do you want to be cast by me? Then let me know. Leave a comment and I will try to get to your team. And finally, if you want to get these videos early, then you can become a member like John and get in these videos 24 hours or more, sometimes less if I'm really busy, early to get a little bit of a head start and see the games a little bit earlier. Or you can hit that thanks button to send a donation and support the channel that way. Let's get set up for map number 2 in this best of 5 lower bracket, round 11 for NA console.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it. Fuse like a magnet, lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. I take shots to the top, I'll get it. I got one life, I'ma do all to win it. I do what's right, pushing till I fall. I'm slipping to get back up, always stand tall, I'm grinning. I got cuts real deep, been bruised and scarred. I had to learn how to think with my head and my heart. I've been chewed up, spit out, torn apart. But picking up all the pieces is a form of art. I'm never gonna look back.
And we are back for round number 2. Frenzy Flame currently up 1-0 in this best of 5. We are heading to Shin Shibuya with Frenzy Flame starting on the defense. Seeing Lunar Snow getting banned out by Tezeta, who are now on the right, Frenzy Flame on the left. Bruce Banner banned away, sticking with similar bans to last time here. Let's see what else gets adjusted. We are pre the Storm buffs, followed by Storm nerfs that have happened since Season 0. Pre the Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman introductions. Hella, gonna get locked in here. Excuse me, as is the Doctor Strange. Very cool. Also a reminder, you are seeing mouse and keyboard controls on the screen because I'm observing on mouse and keyboard, and the observer feature defaults to whatever the observer uses, not what the player was using at the time. Just so you know, that is why you are seeing that. Adam Warlock. Not going to be needed here as Star-Lord is taken out, and we very rarely see Warlock unless there is a Star-Lord in play. Frenzy Flame, the final ban of this map number 2. They're going to take out Groot here. Groot was a little rough to deal with last time. The walls were effective, at least slowing down the push here. Skittleforks has made their way back in here. Galiss actually thinking about running the Jeff, but they did do that last time as well, I think, actually. Zakin brought out a Spider-Man. We know they will do some interesting stuff. Classic Asia frontline for both teams here. Bringing out the Vanguard combo of Doctor Strange and Magneto. Fast forward a couple months from when these games were played, and both these characters are receiving very small nerfs.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds.
Jimmy's bringing in that Hella. These teams very similar, in fact. Differences coming in the support, with Fruit bringing in the Mantis, as that's one of their clear favorites, and Woodback bringing in the Loki, as it's one of theirs. Zakin on the Winter Soldier, and Dempsey is choosing to go with the Punisher. Otherwise, these teams are very similar.
The battle starts in 5.
Let's see who comes out on top as we are heading in to map number 2, Frenzy Flame. Starting on the defense here. Portal right off the bat here. Skittleforks not going for a counter. JBD taking the team up to the high ground. They're going to begin to try to set themselves up for the assault here. Dempsey. Not setting up a culling turret yet, just holding up to the high ground, taking a lot of damage here as the flying Zac goes past. Ticked, dropping a little bit of damage as the Chibis will fall onto the point, sending out the Deliverance. Getting some solid damage output here. Really trying to pressure Tezeta. Are piling on the aggro right now. This Deliverance doing huge damage to that front line. Too many Lokis to really isolate those targets for the moment as Dempsey trying to find the right angle. The damage is getting spread out, but everyone is using cover very effectively. Great pull there by Zac to try and find that isolation. Take a shock onto Mr. Micro as they're trying to force their way through. Frenzy Flame for the defense. There's so much tankiness on the side of Tezeta. Big stun! Was that a triple hook into Triple Soldier's Fist? My word! Zaken finding the eliminations there, driving back the members of Tezeta, and Frenzy Flame are gonna hold on this first point of defense. Holding it at 0%. We're back setting up defense positions. Skittleforks and Yunsui holding the front line. Getting some good damage out. Final Judgment coming in from Dempsey. They're going to try and break the defense. They blow up the Meteor M by filling it with enough damage here. But it does absorb some of the damage of this Punisher, who is taken out. Down goes Dempsey. Zaken on the flank, chased down. Finished off. Skittleforks trying to hold it as Tezeta. They don't find the target they want, but they do have an incredible amount of damage. They've driven back the members of Frenzy Flame. Chibis is still on the point, though. Everyone else chased a little deep here. Chibis will be able to get out of there with the Astral Flock, and that will give the first third of the point over to Tezeta. Can Frenzy Flame get back on the point, try to run it in? Giving it up. They know they can't reach. They will back away. Dempsey dropping quite a lot of damage. Ticked is looking for any quick pickups, any snipes that could get their team back into this. Zaken sending shots down range as Chibis returns from spawn. Shots in range. Kirk charged up. Looks for someone, does not find the Magneto. A little bit too high up, perhaps. DVD getting focused down, but still tanking. Skittleforks trying to block as takes to the sky. Regeneration Domain comes out. Chibis nowhere to run, but is able to fly as they get that Astral Flock and get out of there. And somehow, through that ult, everyone lived until right at the end where Zaken gets taken out. Woodback tries to go into the Cloak and Dagger ultimate, but is taken out, and that is now 2 for 0, currently in favor of Tezeta, as Dempsey, Final Judgment, melts through the shield, and is now chasing back the members of Frenzy Flame, as Tezeta are looking to even up the score here, are smashing through the defense of Frenzy Flame. Dempsey is putting on a clinic here on this Punisher. Keeping the pressure on. Yuzui up above, pressuring in, trying to make room for Skittleforks as they've touched the point, holding it, using that regeneration domain to keep that point under their control. Here comes the eternal bond from Crying, but they are still going to get sniped. Ayamagamoto came out, Meteor M, and they take down 2, looking to make it 3. We are seeing Frenzy Flame on the defense here, taking out Tezeta, driving them back to spawn. Smoke bomb to try and get out. Chibis looking to assist Zaken as they chase down Tix and Dempsey. And they are able to get the eliminations. Portal into the high ground. Skittleforks is back on the point, making sure that nothing like that snuck past them. But JVD getting their team back onto the point. The retreats coming out from everyone on Frenzy Flame, trying to make their way back here. It's a bit of a concave here. Several people on one side, several people on the other. JVD shield Down to 100. Getting healed up though. Cloak and Dagger. Eye of Agamotto comes out. Little bit of damage, but it's getting blocked beautifully here as Chimis has taken to the sky. It's a little bit of a terrain block one, but there goes JBD up to the high ground to try and hold this and tag it through. Spider Zero creeping forwards. Dempsey is doing huge damage for the team. Needs a map here, but it's not respawned yet. Chimis takes him out. Great Bardic Hook, allowing the isolation onto JBD. And we are once again seeing another Eternal Bond focused down and picked off here as Chimis is finding great targets here. 35 seconds left for Tezeta to try and make something happen, but Strange does not have Portal. Now is the time to start swapping, to pick characters with fast rollouts. They're going head first. They can cut through the building. They can make it to the objective if they all move together. Instead of speed, they've gone for strategy to try and blast their way through. But Zaken, Bionic Hook, finds JBD with the isolation onto the jump pad though, making it hard to find the final hits. Tix and Dempsey both holding final judgment, but Kraken Impact drives them off the point. And that is going to be a single point, 123 meters. Going over to Tezeta. Amazing Kraken Impact to close that out, to drive them back, to keep them distracted as Frenzy Flame will now be on the attack. And it looks like they are going aggro. If this makes it out of the spawn, Captain America and Thor pre all the buffs that we have seen since to both these characters. A Season 0 combo to try and break the defensive lines. Do they, Zaken is yet to pick, do they go for Storm? Do they want to actually just go for the triple here? I don't know if this will make it out of base because currently they are aura walking.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
We'll have to see. Tezeta sticking with what got them that far. It worked pretty well here. They're going to move back Hela, Punisher, Magneto Strange. Their two healers, Cloak and Dagger, and the Mantis. Black Panther coming in for Zaken. They're going hard on the aggro here.
3, 2, 1.
The advantage of being a controller player, being able to do this. And they're out of base. Here we go. Hyper aggression. That's a ball with Dempsey. They're going to be the ones set up with the static defense here. Here they come. JBD sees them charging in. Dempsey currently waiting to see if it's worth dropping the culling turret. They're going for a big wraparound. The team's split in two, though. The frontliners have charged past already and are harassing back here. But this means they're quite far away from their strategists, away from the healers. But Loki is landing the healing shots anyway. Taking out the terrain so that they can get the focus damage. The chase down onto Tiggs, forcing them off the point. Skittle focus down, and Yuzui not doing great either. They're isolated from their strategist by a lot here. Down goes Yuzui, and Skittle Forks taken out. Dempsey with the full shutdown on the hyper aggro. Hawkeye for Zaken has entered the fray as Dempsey drops down to the low ground, trying to get the shots onto Chibi's. Chibi's a little bit of a rough position right now. Yuzui has moved off of Cap and is bringing out the Doctor Strange. On the flank, trying to get Dempsey. Would love to basically get anyone here, but Chibi's on their own here, trying to just find any elimination. Finds one. It's two with the help of Zaken. As with the damage output, the two most nerfed characters since Season 0 are starting to push on through. And it looks like Frenzy Flame, slow and steady won their races. They're able to push everyone off the point. Tezeta retreat to a defensive position. Frenzy Flame take the first point, and now it's down to distance. 123.5 meters is what Frenzy Flame have to beat. Going in full on the damage. Dempsey has set up for a culling turret. Zaken looking for the arrows to try and find the shots. Wrap around being attempted. Culling turret will expire. Wood back to the sky with the Hella Clone. Here comes the Goddess of Death. Immediately, a final judgment melts through that. Dempsey shutting it down. But now, once that expired, Chibi's is going to have an opening to go on in. Meteor M comes out from Mr. Micro and does not find the elimination. But now, Chibi's with final judgment down. Zaken takes out Mr. Micro. And Chibi's has full opening to go for the fight, go for that Goddess of Death of her own. Pushing in, big damage. Goddess of Death coming in for Tinked to try and break him, but once again, Yuzui with the shield shuts him down. Regeneration Domain is going to prevent any eliminations here. Skittleforks has that God of Thunder, 2 God abilities, already upward back, already using theirs, the full Asgardian team up. We'll keep an eye on Chibi, see if they get any revives. Here comes that Goddess of Death down the line, fully all in down the main road. Aya Wakamoto is stunning out their team on the back line, but they are getting focused down. Chibi takes out Fruit, snipes Dempsey as they keep the pressure on. Damage output flying away. God of Thunder came out, not enough for the damage, but Zaken is chasing back the defending members of Tezeta. Mr. Micro dropping low, trying to take cover. Zaken unable to find the eliminations with that ultimate, but they've managed to trap the Vanguards in this building, giving a lot of distance over to Frenzy Flame as Yuzui has taken to the high ground because they are looking for the Eye of Agamotto into the backline. Crying and Dempsey are already down. Yuzui tags through. That's a quadruple here, and there is basically no one left to touch that point. Crying can't make it. Tinked is zoned off, and that is going to be map number 2 going over to Frenzy Flame. Frenzy Flame extending their lead right now. Zaken takes the MVP. We did not look at statistics at all during that game, so let's have a look. 23 eliminations, getting taken out 4 times, most for their team, but getting 13 final hits here. Almost double anyone else on their team if it weren't for Chibi's. 16k damage, just a little bit behind Chibi's there with 19k. Did solid work there. Getting that extra 5 eliminations is pretty huge on that Hawkeye. Chibi's also well deserving there, only getting taken out 3 times, 20 eliminations, 8 final hits. Did some good work, did the most damage. They held that beautifully. JBD, shout out as usual for getting huge damage blocks numbers, 42k, but getting taken out only 5 times, the second lowest on their team. Desperately trying to hold the line for their team as best they could here. 60k damage for Dempsey. We already talked about it, just how insane they seem to be here. Tinked getting taken out 3 times, tied second lowest in the game, but only finding 2 eliminations and getting 10k damage. Struggling to keep up a bit, zoned out a few times. Dempsey was playing a little bit more aggressive here. Dempsey's been playing this Punisher so well, but they just keep getting broken down as people keep getting sniped off the point. Their ultimates keep getting blocked. Skittleforks bringing out the Thor at the last moment. 20k damage blocked. 200 more damage than the Strange, that at this point was at the strongest the Strange has been so far. And getting 6 final hits. Only taken out 3 times as well on the hyper-aggressive tank. Very good to see. So, Frenzy Flame can begin to extend their lead. They are now on match point. If they take the next map, then they will be moving on to that lower bracket round 12 to play against VBQ. But Tezeta, they're not out yet. We've seen that they can put on quite a fight here. Can they bring this back in the reverse sweep? Let's find out as we head to a break before map number 3. And we are here for round number 3. This could be the final map as Frenzy Flames sit at a 2-0 on Royal Palace. Tezeta, they need to get their way back into this. What do they have to offer? Hella gonna get taken out here. Very sensible. Chimis was putting on quite the show with this. Strange and Penny will be protected as Bruce will be removed. Luna Snow taken out pretty consistently. Fruit loves the Mantis, so they're just getting rid of that Luna Snow, hoping to force someone off of their main. And Groot taken out again for Frenzy Flame.
Pick your hero or villain.
And these
I'm
comps
not
are so
judging.
far looking pretty familiar, but Mangoon Memes bringing out the Penny Parker back for Frenzy Flame. Zaken looking at the Hawkeye. Now you hover the Storm. After we just had a Cap and Thor game, now you hover the Storm, Chimis. All right, Tezeta. They're choosing to go a little bit more aggro this time. They brought Dempsey on that Black Panther to try and bring them in that way. Ticked on the Psylocke to try and snipe people on the backline as well. This does mean that most of the healing is going to be focused quite heavily onto JBD and Mr. Micro. See how that goes as Chimis is currently hovering the Storm. They've got a lead. They can afford to take that little bit of a risk.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are they just going to boost their team out of spawn?
All you need to do is capture the mission area.
They're running it. Chimis bringing in the Storm. 3 buffs. Giving them the speed boost. Portal came in for JBD, taking their team onto the point to try and zone away the members of Frenzy Flame. Trying to drive them back. Chimis sending shots down range. Getting dove pretty aggressively there, getting a little bit of damage with the lightning strike. Attacking through, focus down. Drops back to get to that Loki healing as Skittlefox is falling, as does Crying. 1-1 currently for these teams. Tezeta take control of the point and are holding. JBD on the low ground, trying to drive him back. Maelstrom of Magic. Retreating off the point for the moment. The flanking Zac doing a lot of damage. Causing difficulty. Good block. Dempsey is trying to flank, trying to cause problems, trying to dive in and keep the members of Frenzy Flame zoned out. Zac dropped so low, but the healing output is too good. Dempsey goes down as Gliz going to be dropping that Eternal Bond to try and take control of the objective. They're trying to drive back the members of Tezeta, dropping the cloak to get out of there, to drop with stealth and pull on back. Chimis on the high ground, making the most of that flying lightning and going in with the Omega Hurricane into the back line. Takes out Mantis. Can they get more? Yes, they can. Crying goes down as well with both strategists taken out. They move on to JBD to try and finish off that Vanguard, which they get. That is a triple for Chimis on the pre-buff Storm. Skittlefork's going to be going up to the high ground with Zac as they try to keep Tezeta out of this objective. 64% was what Tezeta was able to achieve before Frenzy Flame were able to take the point, though. So now Tezeta, they need to get that point back. They've set themselves up pretty nicely here. The doors are broken. Dempsey wrapping around. Spear, little bit of damage, but not hyper committing yet. Galactic Legend coming out for Ticked on the backline for the assault. Blast Descent to try and take down the defenders. They've got rid of Gliz and Woodback Baby. Dempsey is taken down. Zaka goes down to Crying. And we are seeing Frenzy Flame getting absolutely deleted off the point right now. A full team wipe as Tezeta take back control. 42 to 90 to 69 right now. As Tezeta are looking set up about to take their first point here. Mr. Micro doing what Frenzy Flame were doing, zoning them off the point. Tezeta playing forward, holding onto the barriers. Mag Cannon gets caught by the Cyberweb snare, but they have the Magnetic Curtain to try and keep everyone held off the point. Pushing in, Rakan drops the Hunter. Cyber got taken out immediately by JBD. JBD is holding the point for the moment, pushing in. The Eye of Agamotto was used. Eternal Bond for Gliz as they try and force their way back onto the point as the overtime is popped. Here comes the Spider Sweeper for Mangoon. They're down a member, but they're still trying to make it happen as Fruit is taken down. Here's Omega Hurricane to push onto the backline to try and take out the strategists once again. They do not find them finally, but it's enough damage to take out Crying JBD and Dempsey as Frenzy Flame in overtime will hold. 99-47 right now as Frenzy Flame take control. They cannot afford to lose that point again. Woodback Bebe returning to the team after getting taken out, rejoins. The nest is set up. The mines are deployed. The Loki clones are here. The portal is activated into the backline as they drop behind, trying to take back Woodback. Meteor M for the counter from Woodback Baby, but it is completely blocked. Cyberweb Snare to hold it down. Counter Meteor M by Mr. Micro does not find the final hit onto Zakin, who moved onto that Black Panther, who is going to be taken out by Tix, but down goes Crying, removing one of the strategists from the side of Tezeta. Wrap around from Dempsey, looking to see if they can get a little bit of extra healing and go for one last snipe. There's the Loki healing, but they are taken down as Frenzy Flame on 90% are starting to hold Galactic Legend from the high ground. Magoo Memes getting focused down, taken out, and Tezeta are trying to recapture the point. Overtime is still here as Fruit is trying to touch as well to keep the boards on the, keep everyone on the point. Zakin charging in, Chibi's dropping good damage output to try and keep him on the point and staying quite low to make sure they get the blast. Blast is sent from Dempsey, but Chibi's finding a double elimination. Getting focused down as Venom comes in from Mr. Micro. Omega Hurricane to drive back Fruit, remove the strategist. You control the point as Frenzy Flame from down almost half the objective claim it and take point number one. Tezeta so close, down to an overtime. And at this point for Tezeta, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. Because they keep getting to the top, keep getting to the point where it looks like they may take down Frenzy Flame, and Frenzy Flame keeps snatching it from them. That boulder rolls down the hill, and Tezeta are sent right back. They have Eye of Agamotto though. Dempsey is moving over to the Thorn. Mr. Micro moving off of the Magneto and is going to bring out a Hawkeye of their own, trying to snipe Chibi's out of the air. Zakin sticking with the Black Panther. No portals for either team at the moment. They're just going to keep it normal and walk their way in. They push their way onto the point. Chibi's up on the high ground. Thor diving in, takes a shot from the arrow of the Hawkeye. They focus down Mr. Micro. But on the flank, Tiggs is trying to get a little bit of extra damage. Would love to try and take one of them down here. Skitterforks holding the low ground. Chibi's getting healed up by Gliz. The Skitterforks pushing them back up the stairs into their own hallway. Woodback sitting on the low ground as Zakin moving up to the high ground. May look for a dive here. Sneaking around to the enemy team. May go for a combo here on this Black Panther. Does go for a combo and finds the triple. Zack, unbelievable. Down to 67 HP. Chibi's finds Mr. Micro as Zack goes for another wraparound. Going to take out the floor. So now they have another opportunity to wrap around if needed. Skitterforks leaving a portal. JBD, they're going for their opponent's high ground. Here we go. 2 ultimates at the ready. Winter Soldier being brought in for Mr. Micro. Tinked. Moving on to the Psylocke. Aya Agamotto coming in. Stuns out the Loki. Counter Aya Agamotto from Skittleforks. Trying to get to the backline. Finds someone. That's so many mines. Oh my god. No one got taken out by it though. As Fruit will fall along with Woodback. Omega Hurricane directly into the team fight. Takes out JBD and Crying. Thor barely tanks through but is taken out by Chimis. Great pickup there.
We better test this out. You know what to do, Spiders? The area is almost yours.
Chimis able to take control. The orb a little bit in the way. But this is now 84%. Tezeta, they have to touch the point or it's 2 over. The ball, it's in the way. It's blocking their pathway at least a little bit. They're going to be able to touch for the overtime. Here comes the Fate of both World Stars and the Butterflies into the backline. But onto Loki, who's invincible with the regeneration domain. Tig's ult does nothing. God of Thunder shut down. Fruit is trying to tank through here as we are seeing the burst descent for Zaken. Into the backline, dropped low, but numbers heavily in their favor, leaving just 2. Down goes Strange, and the Winter Soldier will be eliminated as Frenzy Flame take map number 3 and will move on. Frenzy Flame with a solid, convincing win in that final round. After it being very touch and go for them. But they found their feet and locked in for that final round, taking full control. And a lot of that was down to, again, the pre-any buffs Storm play from Chimis here. 24 and 2. 15 final hits, 13k damage, 3k more than anyone else in the game. Well-deserved MVP there. It's cool to see a Storm. It's very cool to see a Storm being played in competitive play in Season 0. We're gonna be very tired and wish we had not summoned that once we get into Season 1, is my prediction. We'll see how it goes. Damage done. As we mentioned, Storm going to be coming out on top. Least eliminations. Also Storm. As we finally move off of Storm onto damage blocked. 26k by JBD. Again, doing everything they could to keep their team alive. Getting eliminated 5 times as well. Lowest on their team. Highest for the enemy team. Tied with Woodback Mimi. But they also got 9 final hits. JBD, they did everything in their power to try and push through for their team. But they just did not have the ability to try and break through that front line, and didn't have the ability, it seems, to finish off Chimis enough. Top healing. Barely. Gliz almost sniping it, but it's going to go over to Crying, who takes 15k once again, topping the healing numbers. Putting on a really good performance, but not enough. But we get to keep an eye on them, as despite that incredible performance, they will be eliminated. Tezeta will be going down and have to wait for Season 1 to try again, if they choose to. Whereas, congratulations to Frenzy Flame. They will be moving on to the lower bracket round 12, where they will be playing against VBQ. That will be the day after tomorrow's game. Tomorrow's game, though, will be our first lower bracket round 12 game. It will be Cold Harbor versus AFBS. Followed by our other lower bracket round 12 game, VBQ versus Frenzy Flame. Followed by our up bracket semi-finals, one of which seems to be a bye according to the bracket I have here. So we'll talk about that when we get to it. But it's Sweetness versus Sinister 6 and Dicky Swans versus In and Out. Winner of which will move on to the upper bracket final, and the loser will move down to the lower bracket quarter-finals. Who will be our first North American console champion? Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell notification icon so that you can tell when these casts go live, so you can keep up with the story as we head on into Season 1. Also, if you're curious about some of the changes coming into Season 1, then you can check out my patch breakdown as I go over the patch notes for the second half of Season 1, which will likely be the patch that we are playing on for the Marvel Rivals Championship Eternal Night Falls. So make sure that you check that video out and also hit that subscription. Remember to leave a comment. And of course, let me know if your team is playing in the Marvel Rivals Championship Season 1, what your team name is, what region you'll be on, and I'll be jumping in to cast as many as possible. For now, though, I hope you have all enjoyed. I have been Tetcher. I've been your caster for today. Netties, give me a call. I'm available. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.